Is starting now, so will you rise for the pledge to the flag and a moment of silence? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on, citizens' requests or concerns. Yes, sir.
My name is Richard Franz. I live at 55 North Duther Street. Been here, coming here for a while, and I sit here in amazement because sometimes you pass laws that I don't know what you're talking about. I'd like to be able to have some input when I hear about when you raise the fees for a homeowner that rents a property out for one person, he has to pay a certain fee. Then you give a break to someone that has 5 houses, which is totally unfair. But I never had a chance to say anything about, the one that has some more people in a house should be safer or should be regulated more than it should be the one person in a house because of the usage.
Let me respond to that. First of all, I think I understand what you're saying. If there's a rental property and one person is renting it, you're saying that the fee for that should be less than a rental property where 3 people are living. And we do have an ordinance that says no more than 3 unrelated people can stay together. But you might have a family with 5 people.
No, unless it's student
That's
housing,
not what you're saying.
4 or 5 people in a residence, okay? So you have 5 kids. I don't want to say anything against them, but you start running into more problems. Even extension cords, all kinds of stuff like that could be hazardous that should be inspected and should be going over. I just think that the unfairness of giving a break to someone who owns 5 or 10 properties is so unfair because the inspector has to go to each one. He should be paid the same amount before instead of getting a reduction because that person who owns 5 properties, they're getting 5 times rent. Where one person is trying to create a business within our borough. Okay.
Let me, no, I understand your point. Let me say this, and it's a good thing you brought this up because it gives me a chance to talk to everybody in the audience about this. The public, I don't think, realizes how much of our business is really transacted during committee meetings. There are 3 committees of council. One is the Finance Committee, one is the Personnel Committee, and the third is called the Public Works Public Safety Committee. And during that particular committee meeting, that's when issues such as you are talking about are discussed. So if you want to be part of that kind of a discussion, I would suggest you bring your issues to the Public Works Public Safety meeting. Now, that meeting occurs the 3rd Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock. And if you have a particular item on the agenda, you might want to call either Phyllis Giberson, who is the chair, or Rebecca, who is our borough manager, and ask to be put on the agenda. And in any case, back to your point that there are things that come up that you don't really understand, I think if you were to attend that meeting, you definitely would understand. We have more specific issues, and once you'll see this as we go through the agenda, we always have on our agenda reports of council committees. And so a lot of times, if you're just attending this council meeting and you don't know the background, these things will happen rather quickly. Here's the Finance Advisory Committee report. It says approval of January financial reports. At this meeting, we are not going to go through those financial reports because ostensibly the Finance Committee already did that. So I know some of you old timers here and some of you I see have already attended committee meetings or attend on a regular basis. You know what I'm talking about. So I will put that out there for you. And if you have a concern about that issue, why not give Phyllis a call or call into the borough office and they'll put you on the agenda?
Might have a concern, okay, I've been here since 1969, okay, and a lot of things have transpired over the years. And there's a lot of things that happened that we had no idea that would happen until you vote to say yes. If we would have known, you can't be everywhere. If there would be some kind of notation, hey, we're discussing thus and so, or we're just on your website, so that I would
Well,
be interested.
if I may, there's a Sunshine Act, and it's a Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. It was recently updated. So we must put an agenda for every meeting either on our website, or mostly it's on our website, and we also post it on the door, but I'm positive it's posted on the website at least 24 hours ahead of time. So for example, if yesterday, you went yesterday evening on our website, here's the agenda, and we have to put the things that we're going to talk about on the agenda. We have to do that for our committees too. So I suggest you look like the day before or earlier in the day of the meeting, and it will tell you what we're going to talk about. We can't talk about something that's not on the agenda without going through a pretty extensive procedure.
Did we have a chance to respond to what's on?
No, you have to come to the meeting.
Okay, at the meeting you can respond.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
I know, I'm responding for like 5 minutes, but I
And that's
didn't know
all
there
you
was
get,
anything.
no, that's all you get at this meeting, which is why I'm stressing to you, if you go to the committee meeting, you can have more of a response,
I understand what you're saying.
okay?
Okay, I have one quick thing. A year ago, I asked, and we talked about it, about the policemen having cameras. And then you said I didn't know what you were discussing. What I want to say, did you
No, I
make a
didn't say
decision
that,
on
I
it?
said it was fortuitous that you brought it up, because there was a grant for those cameras. I
Right.
remember that discussion
Right.
very well.
Right, but you were, well, it doesn't matter. Basically, what's going on with that?
Okay, let's turn it over to the chief and the mayor.
They have
And
been
we'll find out.
purchased, the officers have been trained, the policy was set, and they've been deployed. The officers have been using them for about 2 weeks now.
Okay, great, thank you.
There you go. I remember that meeting, because
Yeah.
you brought it up right before it was on the agenda and we were going to talk about it. And I said to you, whoa, that's fortuitous, because we are going to answer your question that night. And that's, I didn't know that, and thank you for that information. Do you have anything else?
Stuff this guy's going up Duke Street on a motorcycles on one wheel, that'd be nice. They're doing wheels.
Millersville police
Yeah, I
are
know,
finding
I
some,
understand.
We just tried to stop one of them.
I know,
It's
the
on
red
our,
guy,
it's
the
on our
red-
crime watch page. He fled. He refused to stop for our officers.
Yeah, my wife watched the guy all the way up Duke Street with his, whatever.
anybody else want to address the council tonight? Okay, I'm going to move on. We have a gentleman here this evening to talk about our agreement with the Funk's Farm property. He's requesting some changes to the sewer agreement. Am I correct, Les?
Yes, originally in the 2000, you can still hear Thunderbill. In the original 2012 agreement, the developer was to replace manholes from Walnut Hill to Elizabeth Street, and also replace the sewer main and the laterals to those individual houses. Under further review, the water line's very close. The developer, the Lancaster City, did not want to replace that water line while they were doing that, which I don't know how you can do it without doing it. They came up with an option. The manhole at Elizabeth will still have to be replaced, but slip lining the existing main and slip lining the existing laterals that are between Walnut Hill and Elizabeth Street. The slip lining, which we have done in the past with some of our mains, basically makes a nice, smooth, and structurally safe replacement. We did it on Blue Rock Road, we did it on Charlotte Street, we did it on Centennial Drive. There's a few places we've used the same material, and it's done a great job. So their proposal is to do that versus replacing the manholes, and the manholes will also be coated. So we had met last week about, or last month about that. with the engineers. Rebecca was at that meeting. We had some suggestions for changes on their drawing, which they have done. As far as the engineers and myself are concerned, it's a viable plan, and Bill's here to talk about it.
Okay.
Sorry, Bill.
That's okay. Les, I think outlined very succinctly what we're proposing, and just ask for your consideration to amend for a second time the agreement that was established between the borough and the applicant to allow for this alteration in the improvement to the sewer system.
And from what Les just said, he is in favor of this amendment.
Yes, so what we would need tonight is council's approval, so Giselle can make the alterations to the agreement. At that point, when that is done and brought back, then we'll need council's approval to approve the amendments
So
to
you
the
want a
agreement.
motion tonight, and when Giselle weighs in, we'll have another motion.
Yes, yes, that is the plan of tonight.
I need a motion to allow me to have Giselle make the changes.
Okay,
Yeah,
would someone make that
I will
motion?
make a motion for, Ms. Rebecca to
I'm sorry, Bill.
talk to Giselle to make the changes.
Do I have a second? Phyllis has seconded. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Could Bill at least show you what he's talking about?
Oftentimes.
Can you just explain what he's
I
doing?
know, he may.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. For those of you, I'm sure you're all familiar with South Duke Street. We are connecting with a force main. They'll be at the bottom of the hill, so to speak, for the Village Funk Farm. There'll be a force main, small diameter pipe, that'll come up along South Duke Street, and it'll connect into the portion of the sewer system that's a gravity sewer system. It flows by gravity. That portion of the system was originally intended to be removed, so we'd be digging big holes through the middle of South Duke Street and replace that pipe. As Les has mentioned, it's in close proximity to a water line. It would have probably impacted and resulted in a disruption in the water service, obviously a disruption in the sewer service. It's a very time-consuming process. You're putting a lot of folks at risk because you're going to be in the middle of the road for a duration of time with trenches and everything else. This approach will allow the pipe to be slip-lined. They essentially blow in a liner. It's rigid when it's activated by an ultraviolet light.
Yeah, yeah.
It becomes a structural element in the pipe. It also creates a very smooth, continuous lining, so that if there are any imperfections in the gaps in the pipes, they'll be sealed essentially with this slip lining. The manholes themselves will also be lined, because when you pump the sewage, it basically aerates the sewage and it creates a caustic condition inside of the manholes. So these manholes will be lined to prevent the erosion of the interior of the concrete of the manhole. In addition, there are 12 or 14 laterals.
Yeah.
That slip lining technique is also done for those laterals. So there'll be a nice smooth condition formed at the lateral connection point to the manhole or to the pipe. And then we'll be reconstructing cleanouts and risers that connect to the existing services. So essentially from the point where the sewer line from the home connects to the lateral at the cleanout to that section of line, that'll all be, I'm going to call it new and smooth, a condition that won't allow for infiltration from the outside area, and it'll be in a condition that'll provide service for a fairly long duration of time.
Hopefully after you and I are long gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the agreement that we're asking to be amended is to allow for this change from essentially taking the pipe out and replacing it by trenching and removing all the pipe to allow for this slip lining condition to take place. And all of these improvements are being done at the expense of the applicant. This is not an expense for Millersville in any way.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the time. Appreciate the ability to explain this. And thanks to
Sorry, Bill.
No, that's
Your
okay.
thunder, bro.
So he did well,
Yeah.
and we would have called on you anyway.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, Bill.
So, glad to be here.
Okay, I'm going to move along to reports of boards, committees, and commissions. Does anyone from a board, committee, or commission wish to speak? Then I will go to reports of council committees. Phyllis, Joe isn't here, and the Finance Advisory Committee did not meet. Do you want to bring a motion not out of committee to approve the January?
Yes, I will bring forth a motion to approve the January financial reports.
Will someone second that
I'll
motion?
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the January financial reports. Are there any questions or anything? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public Welfare and Public Works Committee. Phyllis, I gotta say, after attending that committee, which was, the last Public Works Committee was jam-packed with discussion, but there's only one item under this committee, only one action item now.
One action item and just some information. And this is out of committee. The folks who run the turkey trot have proposed some changes. And the first thing is they would like to have approval to conduct the annual 2024 Millersville Turkey Trot on Thanksgiving morning, November 28th, 2024. And the second thing that they would like is for us to approve a slight change to the route. So I would need a motion for that.
No, you don't need it.
Oh, that's right, it's out of committee, so I just need a second. We don't need anything.
No, we don't,
We don't.
we don't, that's right, it's out on
We
committee.
don't need anything.
Okay, any discussion about this item? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries, and Phyllis has some information to pass along to us.
Well, there was also a lot of discussion of short-term rentals, the solar farm concept from student lodging, vacant properties, and false alarms. These items are being reviewed by our solicitor and by our committee with possible ordinances forthcoming. If you are interested in any of these things, coming to the Public Works meeting is where you will have an opportunity to speak and to find out exactly what we are doing.
Thank you. We have a lot of items, and unfortunately, we have to do them one by one, but they don't need seconds, because you took care of that in the personnel committee.
We had, beginning of the year, we had reappointments and people on committees to stay on committees. We had appointed a couple people to two different commissions. So we reappointed Vicky Usiak, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, to the zoning hearing board, whose new expiration term is 12/31/28. So that came out of committee, that she was reappointed. We bring it to
Any
council.
questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on.
We also reappointed Cindy Bigler to Education Service Agency. Her new expiration is 1/1/27. That came out of committee.
Right. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We reappointed Daniel Ziegler to Vacancy Board. His new expiration date is 1/3/25. Came out of committee that he was reappointed.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
We reappointed Ms. Linda Belisle to be the go-between for Blue Rock Fire Company, and the new expiration, her new term expiration is December 31/25. That came out of committee that she was reappointed.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We, out of committee, we reappointed Mr. David Sykes to Zoning Hearing Board. His new expiration term is December 31/28.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We appointed, this comes out of committee, we appointed Ken Eckert to fill the opening for Civil Service Commission, and his term expiration date will be February 27th of 30.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Moving on.
And finally, we had, out of committee, we appointed Mr. Michael Hawthorne here to the Historic Commission. His term expiration date would be February 27th of 29.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? What did he say?
I know where you live.
I do have a couple of things that I just wanted to say. We are still looking for an alternate for the civil service. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that and everybody watching on YouTube. We also have 2 openings for the zoning hearing board, one of which is an alternate, one of which is a full term. We are also looking, we have 2 openings for the Parks Commission. So those are the items that we are trying to fill to date. So if you know of anybody, if there's anybody that is looking to get involved in the community, you can contact me. Let's go.
Thank you. And now we come to the mayor's report.
Thank you very much. And before we get too far, there's some women that I would like to recognize that have done some phenomenal things for our borough for many, many years. This time I'd like to read this proclamation that whereas on February 23rd, 1974, 10 dynamic women became the character members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated at Millersville State College, now Millersville University, forming the Lambda Gamma chapter. And whereas the chapter became the first sorority in the campus of Millersville State College with national status. And whereas since 1974, the Lambda Gamma chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, say that 3 times quickly, provide programs shaped by its 5-point programmatic trust, economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. And whereas the Lambda Gamma chapter celebrated 50 years of excellence and community service to Millersville University, Franklin Marshall College, Bucknell University, and surrounding Lancaster communities. And whereas the Lambda Gamma chapter recognized the efforts of character members, Sandra Brown, Lula Iser, Sharon Bixer Barnes, I apologize if I don't make these names correctly, Bernadette Height, Jeanette Lawson, Catherine Jones, Patricia Ann Evans, Sharon Kimball, and Karen Dunlap, and Honora Orr. Therefore, be it resolved that the Borough of Millersville recognize Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated on this 23rd day of February 2024 for 50 years of making a difference in our community and initiating over 100 women into the Lambda Gamma chapter for their efforts our campuses and our community have benefited. So, ladies, thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
Point of privilege, is it okay we take a picture with the mayor?
Oh, sure. Please do.
Somebody?
Oh, someone. Ladies, you should get in that picture too, and if you're just standing so quick.
There you go. One more.
Thank you so much.
And on behalf of Lambda Gamma, we say thank you for your time and effort here. And it's been 50 years, and I happen to be its first president on Millersville State at the time, the university at the time. So Thank you
were
so
the
much.
first president?
I was the first president.
And how long ago was that?
50 years ago.
50 years ago. Was that at Millersville State?
Yeah, at Millersville State, February 23rd, 1974. We were chartered there.
I think my friend Garbia Hill was involved.
Well, she was not a charter member, but she is involved. She's
Give her my
a member.
regards.
I sure will.
Phyllis and I,
Yes.
several years ago, we won't say how many, we had our 50th reunion from
Okay.
MU.
Oh, yeah, you would have been involved with her on the alumni.
Yes, how did you
Yes,
do that?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I thank you, I appreciate your efficiency here. It was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. Millersville University report.
Well, good evening, everyone, and again, congratulations, y'all. I want to put a crown achievement for the chapter. A couple items I wanted to bring you up to date on. First and foremost, last time I was here a couple hours preceding the opening of our one-day give, which was on Wednesday, February the 14th. It was a record day. It was a smashing day. We raised over $825,000 in support of our students that day. So that was it was a record-breaking day by all accounts. Amazingly enough, just about 2/3 of that money was brought in by all of our athletics teams. They got into a very heavy competition, heated competition, and they were they were the driving force behind that one-day give. So thank you to all our alums in the room who participated in the one-day give. A couple upcoming things that I wanted to mention to you. JC to our campus, Penn State Health, that ribbon cutting is going to be coming up on March 12th. I know many of you are going to be there, and some of you are even making statements at that event. An event which I talked about and I brought to you previously, we had to reschedule the event with the American Academy of Diplomacy. Ambassador Polt was coming. That event has been rescheduled, and that I promised I would bring it back, not on a council night, and by golly, I was able to do that. That is going to be Wednesday, April the 3rd. And I know that some of you in the audience will want to be there. I'll make sure that Phil has the information and that all of you have that information as well. So that'll be the event on diplomacy, Wednesday, April 3rd in the evening. Speaking of my friend, we'll be partnering with the Millersville Area Historic Society on Saturday morning, April the 6th, for an event in Macomsey Hall, which will be the Greg Scott event, where he will be talking about architecture and historical, the significance of Urban's work. So that should be an exciting morning at Macomsey Hall, and of course all of you will be invited to that. Our Millersville men's basketball team, for the first time ever, just this week, is nationally ranked. We cracked the rankings. The Millersville men are 20th in the nation right now. They've never made it to the national rankings, so this is a first. I'm used to talking about our men's baseball team, but the basketball team, so I gotta urge you. There's a couple games left, and the playoffs. We'll be rocking Casilla Gymnasium. We want all of you. Even we want our friends from Penn Manor High School to walk over the parking lot and come over to see maybe a game there. So that'll be great. Just switching hats real quick for a moment. The Millersville Business Association will be meeting next week on Wednesday, March the 6th. That'll be our regular quarterly meeting, March the 6th, Wednesday morning at Jack's at 7:30. And I know that some combination of folks will be there to give the borough report. And that is my report for the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now, gentlemen, what's going on in Penn Manor?
All right, so I apologize, I'm not in the normal attire. Long night, I'm not in the normal, I don't have the clip-on tie and the nice shoes on. But I hope this will do for the evening. Maybe you guys can imagine me in my nice pink polo that I typically wear. Last weekend on the 24th, yep, that was last Saturday, we had what was last Saturday? We had mini-thon. If you're familiar with Thon, it's a big event that some colleges hold. The biggest is up at Penn State, where everybody dances and we all raise money for childhood cancer, defeating childhood cancer. I know we had a really good year this year. It wasn't record-breaking like Millersville, but it was a pretty good year for us for raising money for that. So we just had that event last Saturday. It was from around 4 o'clock to I think almost 10:30 at night we went to. So it was a pretty good event for us. It's typically one of our bigger events. Coming up now on a different note, coming up on Sunday, March 3rd, we have a post-prom, the Penn Manor Post-Prom Penn Manor Parent Post-Prom Advisory Committee is they're hosting a bingo night. Hosting a bingo night on March 3rd. The doors open at 12. There's going to be shopping and food, and the bingo begins at 2. So if you're feeling really lucky and feeling like playing some bingo, it goes to a good cause. The Penn Manor Prom Parents Committee of Proportions, something like that. It goes to a good cause, I promise.
So to add on top of that, our Manor FFA is hosting a line dancing night in the auxiliary gym on Friday, March 1st. That'll be held from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The cost is only $5 to get in, and all the proceeds are going to like Mini-Thon and our 4 Diamonds, which is also cancer research. And you can buy tickets upon entry of the door. And also with our Manor FFA, in the springtime, you will be able to buy they're growing vegetables and other plants like flowers and stuff for the spring, and you can like mums and all that, and other like tomatoes and stuff, and you can buy those. I think it's in spring, or I think it's in April, like the end of April. And yeah, that's it for the spotlight on Penn Manor.
Well, thank you. And we're going to move on to the manager's report.
Awesome. All right, so the first part of my manager's report this evening is to give a short update on the Charlotte Street sanitary project. Many of you probably will be getting alerts about it, about street closures. We really appreciate everyone's cooperation while we do this really important sewer project on Charlotte Street and hitting on some of the other streets right here and there. I will ask Les to just give a quick update on where we are.
Okay, well, they're on Grady Avenue right now, doing the sewer. They plan on finishing that sewer work up there, including hooking the laterals back up on that, and working our way back down through the right-of-way to install the rest of the storm sewer. And then they'll be going back through on Charlotte Street and hooking the laterals up there. And after that all gets a chance to settle and everything, they'll be air testing the lines and also vacuum testing the manholes. They'll do, the contractor themselves will be doing the trench restorations. And then once that's done, we'll start doing a mill and overlay, which will be an outside, someone they hire to do that. And also grass restoration in the areas that need it. Things obviously are too wet to do that right now, so it'll be a while. This project has substantial completion on April 28th and final completion May 28th. So that's the timetable they're working in. They're, as far as I'm concerned, ahead of schedule at this point, which is very good. And if we don't have a real wet spring, everything should be coherent and be able to get done without any issues there. So. And most people have been very supportive of the detours and understanding, and I say most, yes. Thank you for being supportive and understanding.
Thank you all for talking up the importance of a project like this for the community. Like Les said, we're very happy with the work that you're doing so far and the contractor. So that will continue on to get alerts about street closure. So yeah, awesome. My second item is more of an FYI announcement. We were approached by one of the student organizations at Millersville University, the Conestoga Outdoor Club. They have a wonderful group try for us because they are gracious enough to want to help clean up parts of the borough as well. So they approached us about, and they did all the right thing. They checked in with us about what locations they should avoid, where they can be working, how we can make sure to keep everybody safe. So after a great meeting with them, we're very happy to support their event that they are holding. So on April 19th from 3 to 6, if you see students around the borough collecting trash, they're supposed to be there. Maybe don't hit them with anything. But we're very appreciative that they had last year 60 people before, they're expecting over 100, so a lot of students will be around cleaning up the borough. So we thank them for that.
Anything else?
That is my report for the evening.
Well, the president has no report, and she's also unsure why the next item is on the agenda. I've forgotten what we're.
Oh, no, that's okay, that was an item requested.
Okay. I don't believe we have any unfinished business. Ladies and gentlemen.
The discussion of the committee meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that yours?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So basically, and I'm glad this gentleman kind of came and said what you said today, so you're very good at preempting things like that. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss with the council, this is my 3rd year. First 2 years, just like we're bringing things from the meeting into council, if you're not at every one of the meetings, you kind of don't have an idea of what's going on if you weren't able to make it to the committee meetings. So what I wanted to kind of put out there is if we could, I've been doing some studies on how some of the other boroughs and cities and that kind of townships, do it. And a lot of them, with a smaller council like we have, they bring the meetings down to 2 meetings a month. So the first meeting would be all of the committee meetings. So you would only have to come to one meeting to know what every one of the committees are saying. And it would kind of be like a workshop meeting. And then all the second meeting, so it would be like the second Tuesday and the 4th Tuesday, just like normal. And then the last one would be where we vote and we do all that kind of stuff. That would give us 2 weeks to do our own investigating on different things and stuff like that. So,
well, Darlene, let me tell you that we used to do that. And the reason we do this is because that wasn't as satisfactory. There wasn't enough time to really get into detail. If we had a meeting, I mean, we can discuss this. I really wish, did I know this was going to be on the agenda?
It was posted on the draft, it was requested.
I mean, did anyone tell me what it was really about other than discussion of committee meeting? Anyhow, what would happen if you look at all 3 committees, we have a 3-hour meeting. It generally worked better this way. I know that Millersville Borough used to do this before 2004, and the reason we switched to this was so that we could get into more detail, so that when we come to a committee meeting or to a council meeting, the council meeting could be within an hour. It was actually a consideration of time and also the ability to discuss back and forth. But we can discuss this more at length. But you threw out something for people to talk about, but I think we'll have to put that on the agenda, maybe another meeting after people have time to, because we might have a long executive session, and I'd like to go into executive session. We have 2 items. One involves litigation, the other involves personnel. And as far as the audience is concerned, I suspect we will vote on 1 or 2 items when we come out of executive session. So you're welcome to come back. I don't know how long this will take. It could be very short. We've already had some discussion on the litigation item. So I know that there's no way to turn off. So council is gonna go into that room and ask you folks to exit so you can't hear what we're talking about. We vote to go into, okay, good thing you're there. All right. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. No. Did you ever the agenda? She's supposed to tell we can go there.
Do you know Mr. Singer, your wife,
We got to talk out there because we're live.
What is
That's just sort of introduce.
One guy ran another guy.
Yeah, we have, they caught us blindsided.
I just wanted to mention that I'd be interested in.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something about it last week and then we just didn't.
It's a real That's a lot. But this year, is important. One, we have that.
Take care of yourself.
Certain ones at 108 on George Street, 108, that the gentleman wants to actually demo it down to the ground and do something else with that property. The historic commission said no, and he is appealing it. So there is gonna be some work to be done on there.
108 North George?
George, yeah,
Yeah.
it's up by the, oh, past the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Up past there.
Well, if somebody can fill me in on that stuff, and, you know, I'd be glad to
If you want, that's amazing.
consider.
Yeah, we'll do, we'll,
Okay, well, let me
we'll do
know.
personnel.
Let me know.
All right.
and we discussed a lot of this before.
This is good. Darlene, can you ask down come in if you want?
Phyllis,
There, yeah.
Phyllis.
Thanks.
Hey, that's great. I think the commissioner isn't, and then he won't fuss too much.
Yeah.
And so with that, now what we need is the folks. Come back in, folks.
Rocks in my pocket when I was home.
Come on in.
It weighs twice as much as it did when I left the house this morning.
We're out of executive session now. And we have two items on which to vote tonight. The first item is an item, we have potential litigation. Our zoning hearing board issued a decision which is being appealed. And we've discussed this at length. There are numerous things we can do, and we are not obligated to support our zoning hearing board. We have, however, decided to do so, and we have a motion that needs to be almost like an oath. So go ahead, ladies.
Okay, so I motion to authorize the borough solicitor
I motion to authorize the borough solicitor
to file a notice of intervention
to file a notice of intervention
on behalf of the borough
on behalf of the borough
in the land use appeal
in the land use appeal
captioned Gregorias versus Millers, sorry,
captioned
Gregorias
Gregorias
versus
versus
Millersville Borough Zoning Hearing Board,
Millersville Borough Zoning Hearing Board,
and docketed to
and docketed to
number
number
CL
CL
-24
-00946
and defend the decision
and defend the decision
of the zoning hearing board.
of the zoning hearing board.
Whoa, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
I'll second that, sucker. Repeat it.
Oh, yeah, I'll repeat it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now, we, as I'm sure you're all aware, have a vacancy, maybe you're not all aware, we have a vacancy in the position of finance officer. And we had one applicant, and it turned out that he is a wonderful applicant. And I'm going to let Rebecca tell you a little bit about that, and then we'll take a motion.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we are excited to have a vote tonight for a new finance officer. The candidate's name is Luke Pennington. He's a Millersville grad with a business and finance degree. He spent some time in cost accounting, some time in accounts payable, and we are thrilled to bring him all to you for a vote this evening.
At a salary of $62,000.
And a start date in March.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to hire Mr. Pennington. So moved. So moved, second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Well, the ayes have it, and motion carries. And now, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second. We all said.
Right on the button.